Well, this is sudden. Uh, I don't know what I'm doing. I just, you know, felt like recording. This is my Jakobs only playthrough that I've been doing just for myself. I've done this before, but I never actually farmed anything out of it. So, just gonna do this, have some fun, getting messing around with one of my favorite gun companies in the entire game. Well, one of them. And also just to randomly talk about crap because, I'm bored. I mean, Tom is here on the call, but he's definitely muted, so, he's not here right now. Um, anyway, um, I don't know what I'm talking about anyway, but as on the topic of favorite, guns. Jacobs is like up there because it's just outright fun, and some of the legendaries are really cool. But some of the other guns that I find particularly neat, like TDR is a hot take. A lot of people don't, for some reason, either really hate TDR or really like it. I really like TDR, especially like Borderlands 3 TDR specifically. Borderlands 2 TDR fucking sucks, but Borderlands 3 TDR, that's peak. Just the legendary effects actually being unique to the guns and stuff usually. I mean, I know Borderlands 2 had that, but not to like the same extent as Borderlands 3 having like variants of it, because the overhaul to all the gun functions. Like Malawan having two elements, Dal having two firing modes, Hyperion having the shields, Ladov having the underbarrel attachments, Jacobs having the critical ricochet, Torg having sticky bullets, sticky bomb bullets, I mean. And then there was like TDR with the multiple versions of like TDR chucks, which was really cool to see. Um, then yeah, I mean I've yet to do a TDR only run because 3 weapon types and 4 slots doesn't sit well with me. But I could do it. It would be fun to try at least. But yeah, currently my build is all over the fucking place. Probably shouldn't be doing this. I don't know, about Flak, this skill tree, there's only very few skills in it that are good. Like, I mean, specifically these ones, these are good. And then, like, everything else is kind of bad. Um, Green is just OP with Jacobs. This can be fun. This, I've never really played around with, but I looked at all the skills and was like, this just kind of sucks. It's mainly just buffing your pet, which is not my kind of thing. I mean, sure, the pet can be buffed, but like it's mainly focusing on the pet. And then, yeah, it's a DLC skill tree, like what you expect. But yeah, especially because Megavore exists. I might actually end up respecing a few things if I'm being honest. I don't really need lick the wounds, or actually I might keep that. I don't know. Let me respec. Let's see. Wounds could be good in case I down myself like a dumbass. Yeah, sure, why not? And then I put a point into Sikkim, then like the wounds, and then I could put points into here to get the shield and my loader boat again, but like, I don't know. If I really need my pet to have a shield, plus bull loader is kind of like Disease increased, fire rate increased, elemental damage resistance. Sucks to require Star River. Yeah, just all these skills aren't really the greatest. Like looking at them. Pretty sure the icon is a giant reference 19 as in the woolly skanks, whatever. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna ignore the skill tree. Like I never use this. The skill's kinda like I spec weird. Uh yeah, let's find the 2 thing. And then equip the Spider-Man Empress. How does that look, by the way? If they can spawn in, things like that. Oh, hell yeah, look at that. It's kind of cool, but it's also a little weird. I don't know, I might reskin, do a new skin, but just change the skin color. Sweet Zionist, or darkness. I'm just started playthrough. I'm already doing like specs and crap. Like, well, I started a playthrough, you know. Start of a video. This is probably not entertaining to watch, but you know, I'm doing it. Full play. Full play looks kind of cool. Is that? I don't know. This hard sacker, hex bolts. Jandal Day Roland's kind of neat. Oh, that's obnoxious. Artifuturist, Moonkeeper, Spec out. Oh God, it's obnoxiously bright. Jesus Christ. Sigils. Try not. Deal Christ. That doesn't even look like anything. Butterluck, Urban Blammo. You know what? I'm gonna do something. Change out some things. I still don't have the one hat I wanted back, but you know, there is a skin. Hold on, that I use because I used this combo before as a kind of low-key of a reference thing I did. What was the skin I used again with this? There was like a specific like part I used with it, or like a skin. I don't know why I have that skin since I had that bug reset thing, so I barely played this flag. General Roland's kind of neat that. Pop Cycle, Prism Lizard. The Lizard looks fucking awful on that. Astrobot much? Sheriff Studs, Spec'd Out, Style Essentials, sure why not? Heal Appeal. I also noticed the Harbinger skin and Flex default skin literally have no difference in appearance. It's kind of funny. I had done a thing a while back. What was this? Like a specific head I had used. Like I don't have the head. It was like the anima. I think it's called animatronic or something. I think some people here might know what I'm going for with this. Just give me a minute. She doesn't really look right with that one. You know, I could do something here. Just change this out for, and then this out for. And, oh wait, no, there's actually the brown bit kind of works in this. Oh, it doesn't change the eye color though. Never mind. Okay, now it has to be shiny. Alright, Crimson Shadow. I'm pretty sure I can just. There we go. And then. And as minute I rename this, people might know what I'm doing. Got. Hold on. I'll give the name something. Pet name something. I don't know. Actually, I have an idea for this. I just need to respec. This is gonna be so fucking stupid. Okay. So I don't really need the one skill. Pick up that. I have the bowl loader. And then equip you. Or is it? Look at him. Why is he like that? You know what, it's fine. What's he looking here? It's like a better view of him. He's fully right there, but like the minute I actually look at him again, he's got fucking red on him. It's really weird that there's a disparity between the two in the game and like that image. But and then oh, the pet, you can't change the name of the pet when it's this guy. You know what, it's fine. But yeah, it's totally supposed to be a FNAF reference. You know, I actually do like Fancy Freddy's, but like I haven't played, you know, Scare Beach because I don't have the money, let alone, and I'm, you know, a big fan of the series. I played Custom Night. I've played Pizzeria Sim, never beat Pizzeria Sim. But yeah. Originally when I was doing Pizza Sim, I was trying to do, just because for a joke, my first run to do the mediocrity ending, and then realized real quick that realized quickly that I suck at Pizza Sims Nights. Because even with audio, that game's like so fucking ridiculously hard. Like FNAF in general is just kind of difficult. Like it's always been a little hard. Like FNAF 1 was like FNAF 2 was FNAF 3 is just bullshit. FNAF 4 was a matter of, again, paying attention. Like I said, there was this FNAF 1, 2, 1 and 2 were a simple matter of like check the cams, if somebody gets in the room, put on the fucking mask, watch the marionette. FNAF 1 just watch the cams, next the door, shut the fucking door, watch your power. And then FNAF 3 just fucked everything up because that game was like a matter of Jesus Christ, what the hell am I doing? FNAF 4 was where things started a little difficult because you have to like have good fucking audio and actually good hearing to, you know, play that game without dying. And then there was this location which was completely different and actually apparently is considered really good. Because except for the Foxy, Fun and Foxy section, apparently that was considered bullshit. The Laura segment wasn't too hard, apparently. Apparently, Ballora segment was like, I think the Ballora segment is the one that intrigues me the most because, like, for a majority of it, there's like nothing on screen. You just hear the sound of Ballora, and and you just kind of like have to pay attention again to the audio, and if she's close, to stop moving. Which I thought was kind of neat. Fun and Freddy segment apparently fucking sucks. And then there's then there was the Circus Babies thing, which was just a matter of listening and pressing the correct fucking buttons. And then, you know, that was about that. And then, and the Biddy Bab thing is considered bullshit because, like, it's very unresponsive, the pulling on the door thing. Like, it's hard to do. And then, what was the other thing? Then there's, and then there was Pizzeria Sim. Pizzeria Sim was fun, but also like a matter of the nights are too fucking hard to me. Like they're not bad. It's just that like it's difficult to like comprehend what the fuck is going on half the time because like you have the monitors, you have the tasks you need to do, and then like there's like the silent vent thing, which I never figured out what the fuck that did, other than make the vents not very like make them not make noise. Which I don't know if that was screwing me over or not, because I'm pretty sure that might cancel animatronic noises as well. But the vents sound could be turned off for the whole night, so I'm not sure if that was just a matter of like making the game easier thing, or like it was something that was actually screwing me over because it was hiding animatronic sounds as well, or not. But yeah, that game was fuck Pizzeria Sim. I got past night 1 because I realized I could just do the tasks, look over at the vent next to me, 'cause it's the only side like multi-free attack from look back and just repeat that process over and over, like, well, night 2, not night 1. And then from there, that was that. I tried the same method with night 3, where I just go back one side to the other and back and forth, and I kept dying, so I just kind of gave up on Pizzeria Sim. So yeah. Also because the game literally says that not taking in the animatronics won't make them appear in the night. Bull fucking shit. The game literally like tells you, even in the official guidebook too, like the whole guidebook they released, where it's like, the guidebook not and the game mentions that if you don't do a salvage, they don't appear in the night, which is a fucking outright lie. They will still appear in the night, which is some bullshit because like I guess it makes sense from a game design standpoint, but like, come on. You can't just tell us in the guidebook and in the game that they won't appear and they still appear. And then there was an Ultimate Custom Night was just kind of cool because there's like all the characters in like a very different scenario. Like some characters same like Balloon Boy's gimmick, Freddy was about the same. But then there was like the weirdly weird changes like Bonnie and Foxy or like Chica's. Chica's apparently considered the most bullshit mechanic in Custom Night. And then what's the other one that people like was hard? Apparently people complained about Nightmarion when he's at max difficulty, but I actually found out he's really fucking easy if you have a mouse that has a speed changer, which I feel like a lot of people who play games do. Like this sensitivity on my screen, this is not my default, not me raising it. This is called my mouse as a speed changer. Like Nightmarion is not difficult if you have a speed changer because you can quickly move your mouse off of him. I guess it's a lot of people, not a lot of people actually have that for some odd reason. Like most gaming mouses have that as a built-in feature, so it was like confusing to me. Well, there's also like other mechanics. Like Never Balloon Boy was considered kind of annoying, especially when he's paired with like other characters that require the flashlight, because he overlaps with like things like Phantom Freddy, for example, or like what's another one? Like he overlaps with like some other like the Freddles too. So like when doing like 50-20, he's like really fucking annoying when compared to those guys because like you can't shine your light on them unless he's active, lest he kills you. What was he like? And then there was just Lefty, was really annoying. Who else was there though? As I said, the Freddles. I meant Nightmare Freddy, but the Freddles are part of his thing, so I think that kind of counts. The way people understood that. There's just some characters that were really, really annoying when you paired them together. Like, fuck, who else was there? Like when the player pairs, what's it? I think it was. There was like also characters that like functioned identical to how they did in their original appearances. Like Balora's mechanic is straight ripped out of Sister Location's Custom Night. Same thing with think Funtime Foxy's, maybe? Wait, no, Funtime Foxy's was just similar to original Foxy and Ultimate Custom Night. I mean, in Custom Night's location. And then they made him work differently in in Custom Night. Where you had to like you view the cameras at that said time or he kills you on the sign from this thing. There was also what else was that? Honestly, the thing I remember doing a lot, like just so I could unlock skins and stuff, was I would literally turn on either really easy characters to max difficulty or characters that could not kill you. So you could so I could like unlock skins and stuff. And then, but there was also some other things I remember that were like kind of interesting. Like one of the more interesting things I learned about Ultimate Custom Night was that for whatever reason, if you've got it was like specifically when you got it from Game Jolt. It wasn't when you used the Steam. If you did the Old Man Consequences Easter egg from the Game Jolt version, and also had FNAF World, which was only on Game Jolt because people who did not like it and got removed from Steam and refunded. You would get the Old Man Consequences ending trophy in FNAF World for doing the secret and ultimate custom night, which was kind of weird that they actually thought about that much of a crossover between the games to include that, which is kind of wild. And I just feel like game sounds off, but that works for me talking. And then there's fuck, who was it? There's FNAF World though was a trip, and I think the thing that most people tend to forget. Now, this is something I used to be into FNAF lore and watching game theory, and then he retired and left the new guy, and then I stopped watching game theory entirely because the new guy just fucking sucks in my opinion. Like, no, not the diss on the guy, but half his actual theories he makes sound like conspiracy theories about games rather than actual game theories, and it's not fun to listen to. Um, and then there's what was it? So yeah, I used to watch his videos on that stuff, and something that I always feel like everyone overlooks because it's just considered really bad was FNAF World as importance in the story, ironically. So the thing that I feel kind of some reason overlook every time I watch a theory video, everyone disses on FNAF World not being canon at all when it actually is. If you look into a lot of the endings, you start to realize that a lot of them connect to the main horror game, main actually scary games. And it's kind of weird. Like, a majority of the endings are just random BS and don't relate to that. And then there's, like, the endings, like, with collecting all the clocks, and then there's like the ending with Old Man Consequences, because it's been like the thing that I've hinted at a lot is the fact that a lot of the scenes that like apparently people started getting FNAF a little more canon once Old Man Consequences was a thing in Custom Nights because you realize he was actually fucking important and not just a random character that was introduced in FNAF World. So yeah, and it's like it's hinted at that like he is some sort of like afterlife guardian of some kind. That like that like that helps the souls of like the children at rest after Afton dies and then deals with Afton himself. Um and then and not to mention if you look at some of the endings, you start to realize that FNAF World is literally the dream of the crying child while he's in the coma after his frontal lobe is gone. I had to make some joke there, but yeah, you start to realize that like it's literally his comatose dream because you have that first launch of the game thing with that weird eyed character with the eye color that is like something that like people don't realize. Those eyes are the eyes of the Fredbear plush from FNAF 4. And then there's like things like there's like the eyes of the fact, and then you get the ending with all the you know with like collecting all the clocks, and the character talks to you, and he's like, and the line that's mentioned is that I will put you back together, which is which is one of the ending lines from. Or no, it wasn't. I think it was like an intro cutscene. But I think it was the thing that like made me realize that that ending was literally the crying child's like comatose was that line from what is very clearly the Friender plush was a line that syncs up with the ending for FNAF 4. Because one of the lines that's mentioned in the ending is we're still your friends from the Friender plush until like the ending's going on. And then that mysterious eyes figure in the end, that ending says we're still friends, right? And that just made me realize it's literally the crying child's dream is that ending. is realizing FNAF World is the dream of the crying child from FNAF 4 while he's, comatose from the head injury. I mean, or either his dream while he's in the hospital or something, or while he's being dead and having a last thing, or I don't know. The thing is, it's never clarified if he died or not. We just assume most of the time that he died, but like the thing is, it's never stated he's dead, and there's a lot of hints throughout the game that seem to imply he's in the hospital and not dead. Like, he could very well be dead, but we don't know if he's dead. Especially because, like, a lot of the endings, like, I don't know. I mean, if you consider there's also a lot of details in the FNAF 4 that seem to, like, hint at, the fact that he's in the hospital. Like, if you, like, listen closely to the alarm at the end of the night, it goes from something like an alarm clock to, like, a heartbeat monitor, like, spiking. Or like the like lamp next to his bed replacing the IV dry up occasionally when you look behind you where the freckles are in FNAF 4. Stuff like that seems to imply that like he's in the hospital and like when he's experiencing like those mini games are telling his backstory till before what happened, and he's like comatose and having like a nightmare. But there's also other things that are important to note that I feel like something that I never see anyone talk about is the fact that I'm pretty sure the nightmare animatronics are not actually, well, they never were real, but are supposed to be a representation of the bullies that killed him. Not like they're not meant to be like actual like nightmare animatronics. They're the bullies because all the animatronics literally tie up to the bullies' masks. There's Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, and Freddy. And the thing that we also know from the cutscene, some of the cutscene, is that his brother was in the closet, and his brother is the one with the Foxy mask. So, it just makes sense that the Nightmare animatronics are a representation of the bullies and them tormenting him, basically. How they tormented him. And like, sure, like, he seems to die during those, but like, the other thing to note I think that I also noticed is that if you listen closely to the jump scare sounds, they go from sounding like the original jump scare to sounding like the FNAF one jump
Hey,
scare.
pal.
Jesus, hi, you're back.
Sorry. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Dom.
It's a bit, but Arcane Odyssey's up again and
Alright, yeah.
updated.
I'll join you in a bit. I'm
Sorry.
just doing a video and
Okay.
rambling about FNAF lore.
uh,
uh, uh, yeah. I'll join in a bit. I just need to finish up this video. Uh, man, you scared the shit out of me though. It was just, your mic was a little loud, and I was like, "Hi."
wow.
Uh,
Uh,
anyway, I don't know. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. I was just rambling about like random FNAF shit because I don't know. I had a train of thought, and I just went with it for the video. I don't know why. I don't think people came to watch me play Borderlands and ramble about the FNAF lore and random bullshit about the games, but here we are.
uh,
Uh, but yeah, I've just been here doing this recording the Jakobs Only playthrough.
uh,
Uh, I've been doing just for myself, doing a little bit of recording for it. But yeah, I think the reason I started down this train of thought is because I made Flack look like the fucking Mimic, and then I suddenly went into a FNAF ramble, and it was really weird. Like, I made him turn, like, sort of look like the Mimic. I don't know. But yeah. Man, I swear to God, though, with this game, like, the Ionic Disruptor is so powerful, and it fucking sucks that's locked behind Hem Everest. Like, I have it through Diamond Armory because fuck fighting Hemevris. Actually, fun story. I have the achievement for
Hmm.
killing Hemevris. I never actually killed Hemevris. Me fast traveling out of the arena some reason gave me the achievement as if I had killed him. I don't know why it did that, but it did. Like, I've literally never killed him. Like, I fought him, like, multiple times during one attempt, and, like, I could not do it. I was even on level, and, like, I don't know if my equipment was just too wrong or whatever, but, like, I could not kill him. And then eventually I just said, fuck it, and then. Actually, I think it might have been related to Mayhem mode. The minute you do, like, and most, like, raid bosses or event bosses on Mayhem mode, they just become bullet sponges, so that's probably what happened. Is my guess. Yeah, that's another bug with Borderlands 3 I notice a lot, is the fact that, like, raid bosses and, like, event bosses just become bullet sponges the minute you turn on Mayhem mode. Even, like, just Mayhem 1, like, Joey Ultraviolet from, like, Cartel Event just is nigh unkillable, or at least would take a long fucking time to kill on Mayhem fucking 1. Because I think it's because his scaling is like screwed up for something. It was like a coding error apparently. Similar to the Phylacteries in the Halloween event, where like they're apparently scaled for mayhem, and that's why they take so fucking long to kill. Like they're scaled for mayhem when they shouldn't be. So like, I don't know. It's weird. I remember hearing recently learning why they're like that is because through a video. Specifically Jolts, dude, great guy. Love his content. Also, is like apparently somehow manages to be a family-friendly Borderlands YouTuber. I don't know how he pulls that off, but he does, and it's kind of funny. Like, dude manages to make cuts and stuff that make sure his channel can stay E for everyone, can stay family-friendly. Like, he doesn't swear, and if something has a swear word in it, he doesn't even say. He just goes, hmm. Like the Borderlands 3 gun that's literally called the bitch. Oh, not Borderlands 3. It's like a gun that's literally called the bitch, and he doesn't even say its name whenever he's appeared in his videos. He just goes hmm whenever he gets it. Doesn't even say it, so he can remain family friendly. Yeah, I just thought that was funny. It just made me laugh. I love Jolts. It's like he inspired me to make some Borderlands stuff. So you know. Like some of the challenges I do, I tried doing a challenge a while back that like I wanted to do, but I realized it's kind of like a bit hard with how this game made stuff, and I think it's like let me shut my door here. Like next to impossible due to some boss fights. But I originally had the idea to try and do like as a satire joke, try to beat Borderlands 3 without like quote being racist, which meant I couldn't kill anyone that wasn't white. And it just wasn't possible. Like in order to make it possible because of mobbing segments, I made the rule that A had to play as Fleck and or Mose when having Iron Bear. Well, actually no, I couldn't do that with Fleck. I would start from a DLC so I could get a pet Fleck. And the rule was that I literally directly myself could not cause the death, meaning that my pet would have to hopefully target the enemy for me. I also couldn't issue attack command because that would be me doing it. So, and I didn't find it fun, so I gave up on that one. So, I don't know. And it was also nigh impossible because Aurelia exists as a boss fight, and I'm pretty sure she's black. So, like, I'd have to have my pet target her only. And since she does spawn minions, I was like, no, we are not doing this. It was a satire joke I wanted to do, and then it turned out it was just a nightmare to try and do, so I never ended up doing it. It was just, I don't know, it was an interesting idea, but the minute you realize how much waiting around you have to do for an AI to hopefully kill the thing you want it to do is just, it doesn't work. Especially become more of a nightmare as a Aurelia fight, especially because sometimes another enemy could spawn in as not being white, and then I couldn't kill them so my pet could target Aurelia, and god. Yeah, it was an idea that came up after I realized that the game started like implementing like skin color differentiation and like gender differentiation. So that's something the previous Borderlands didn't do. Every single enemy was like white and a dude in the previous Borderlands games, with the exception of some boss fights. And then Borderlands 3 added like the variations of like having like female psychos and female bandits and like all that stuff. Ironically, Malawan is still all dudes, but eh. And then so is like the cultists. I don't even know if the cultists were actually humans or like straight up like eldritch monsters. I can never really figure that out. It seems to imply that they're humans still, but I don't know. But they're clearly all dudes, unless like the voice, like the body takes them over or something. I mean, it seems like maybe I don't know. I'm not going to get to the lore to explain that one. Um, But yeah, and then beasts are just free game in that challenge because it's they're animals. Like you can't really be racist there. But yeah, it was a hell of a challenge that I ended up abandoning because it was just kind of annoying to do, especially with mobbing segments and having to do stuff like that. And just like I couldn't use grenades, couldn't use most of the action skills I had. It wasn't a fun challenge. And also incredibly like demonetizable if I had wanted to do it as a YouTube video. So yeah, not happening. Um, like I attempted it, got to a mobbing segment, and immediately said, "Never fucking mind." Not mention there was also like the characters that you can't I straightly identify what like if they're like like that or not. I just said for those ones since they can identify it, it didn't really count. So like when I got to the Malawan segment, Malawan and Prince, I was like, I don't know, I can't tell if they're black or not, so they're just all going to die. So that's something I did. Just don't take that out of context. But like it was an idea that flopped and I never wanted to do it again. It was a satire joke that I wanted to try because I wanted to see if it was possible and I mean it could be, but it was fucking annoying. This is because with the imposed rule of I myself can't harm them, but like and I have to get my pet to target it because that wouldn't be me doing it, my pet. So not a fun challenge. Like I abandoned it. And then I, had the other challenges. There's some other challenges I want to try, but some that I just feel like would be fun, like to try, but also would be hella ridiculous to do. Like, there's one specific one I want to try that I think would be wild, but also like is a matter of like it would fucking suck to do. Was trying to beat Borderlands 3 with like only like what was like a specific gun I wanted to do. I think it was like actually it's a challenge I like want to see people do. Like I want to try with specific guns only. Like I wanted to try doing it only with things like maybe like only the Shrieking Banshee, which I thought about that one and then went hell no. If you know what the Shrieking Banshee is, it's a Mal 1 shotgun that releases a Nova that hurts you when you shoot it, as well as the normal projectiles. So, yeah, that wasn't happening. Um, and then I especially because I would have to either use a save editor to give it to or you know, stuff like that, and it was just not ideal. Um, or Linux is obtained really late game. There were some other ones I was half tempted to try, like trying to do the game with like only like the Unforgiven. There was another challenge I wanted to do that I actually genuinely considered, but then decided on second thought maybe not. Of could I beat the game only getting critical hits? And technically, if you do it as flak and uses uh, what the fuck is it called? The fucking disappearing skill, fadeaway skill. It is possible because, but like if you try it with like any other character, I can't see it working strictly because the boss actually that we're about to do right fucking now in this video because of Warden. Because Warden's crit point is fucking impossible to hit once he's enraged, as like most, you know, as most Goliaths tend to be. Like once they're enraged, you basically can't hit them. Like it's not possible to get a crit on them once they're enraged. So unless like it's a boss fight, there's no way I was one-shotting Warden, especially because he's in invulnerability phases that are mandatory. Like it's just not happening. It wasn't gonna happen without Flack. So I mean, if I do it, I could try it. But like I feel, and I would also have to start from a certain level. But like, because like the only reason I say it's possible with Flack is because fade away. While in fade away, every single hit you make counts as a crit. Every single shot you make counts as a crit when you're in fade away. So yeah, and also the reason I secondarily decided not to use challenge was the second part, which was the fact that my game is bugged and doesn't show damage numbers. And as far as I've been looking up into this from the ancient Reddit posts, the only way it's known to fix it from that one post I mentioned is to wipe all save data. Like, not just a character save, the whole game save data, which I'm not fucking doing. So, yeah. I did recently make a Steam post, like, see if anyone could help me with that, because I highly doubt that's the only fix for this. But, yeah, especially because I can't tell if I get a crit, unless I'm using something like a Jakobs, which I guess if I did that, then yes, it would be easier, because if the bullet doesn't ricochet, then I didn't get a crit, and thus, I would know. Yeah, as you see here, like this, like, oh, what the wait, did I? Oh, yeah, right. Ionic Disruptor. Okay, maybe it might be possible then. I do have Diamond Armory. Okay, maybe I'm reconsidering that, because if you can use Ionic Disruptor to do that, then it might actually be possible. If you can use Ionic Disruptor to just fucking bypass his armor bars and thus his eye frame phases. It could be possible now, I know that, but you're gonna have to have the Ionic Disruptor, so, it's like give or take if it could work. Also, I did not know Ionic Disruptor bypassed armor as well. It says it bypasses shields, I didn't know it bypassed armor burst too. It's kind of cool. Borderlands series is full of weird things, man. But yeah. I don't know, this is just a matter of, like, kind of just, having fun. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. That could be a challenge to try, only critical hits. Like, Spuddy Cube, another, recently was watching today, came up with the challenge with, coming by another YouTuber, Gas Mask, which, Gas Mask is fantastic, love his videos. Funny guy. Anyway, we're challenged to only beat Borderlands with the Daka Bear skill on Moe's, which, sounds like a fucking nightmare, especially because it does require co-op to do, because Iron Bear, and if we're considering only Nightmare, Iron Bear would target things, so, if you're using Auto Bear, so, eh, I don't know. Though, I think the thing they overlooked is, now that I think on it, that I think could make that challenge possible, is the fact that you could just level up enough points to not, you know, and then like use the thing that like Iron Bear doesn't equip any weapons until you do it on himself. So you could just have it so he doesn't have any weapons, and thus Auto Bear can't do anything. And I feel like that could work, but I guess they overlooked that and equipped the miniguns. And once you equip a weapon onto the Iron Bear, you can't unequip it. Only swap it out. So I don't know. I feel like that could be a little bit more possible in single player, but also it does require you somehow getting enough levels to get Duncan Bear and Iron Auto Bear. So it'd be better to do co-op. Speaking of, I'm recently thinking about starting to do a challenge, doing like a combo of like I'm thinking of starting to try and do a series of doing like some friends and I getting together and each of us choosing a gun company and only being able to use that gun company because that could be fun. Like I feel like that would be interesting to try and do, especially because I feel like that would be a fun idea, just doing like our own gun alliance and like seeing what we can do. I feel like that would be enjoyable, like something that would be an interesting series of like us figuring out how things work. I'd also probably end up choosing like something I barely use, main guns, just to see how interesting it would be. Like obviously Moe's and Vlanov or Jakobs and Flak is really good, but like trying something different would be interesting. Like what I don't know. Trying like Zane and Hyperion, or like no, well, Zane and Doll I've done before. That one's kind of like balanced out, especially if you do blue skill tree. But like Zane and fuck it, I don't know, like like Hyperion or I don't know. Also, the fun thing I recently found out is that the explosive skill tree does not count for TDR with Moe's, so TDR Moe's does not fucking work. Um, but like, what was it? Like, I could do just trying some like oddity thinking ideas. Like, fuck. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking because there's like some interesting like gun companies, like, or like Torquemose is really good too. I don't know. Fucking Atlas. Atlas Amara? No, that wouldn't work. Um, Atlas Zane, Atlas Zane. I can see working. Um, I don't know. Just try and use a gun company I barely use. Because if I'm being honest, there's some guns I barely use in Borderlands. Like TDR I'll use if it's a legendary. Then there's guns like Atlas, which I don't touch ever. Like I kind of want to do a playthrough using Atlas only, but saying they have like 3 gun types is also drawing me away from it, like rocket launchers, assault rifles, and pistols. I don't know. This is the other thing that like kind of like annoyed me when like Borderlands 3 came out was like how some guns from manufacturers were removed while others were like changed or added. And then there's just like ones that like I can understand from design point, but like why? Like for example, there's no longer TNR rocket launchers. There's no longer Hyperion pistols, and that means or like no longer I don't technically it's COV, but like bandit shotguns, which would be in COV, like or like yeah, like that. So kind of just messed up the dynamic for some guns having only 3 guns with four slots of weapons. This is kind of annoying. There's also it's interesting. There's also things like Atlas already. It was just a matter of like trying to find some guns for them. I don't know how many gun types Atlas had in the first game. I know they had assault rifles. I know they had pistols. I don't know what else they had. I've barely played Borderlands 1, let alone beat it. So, Also, yes, that's something about me. I beat Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, and 3, but not beat Borderlands 1. I just recently got the game, actually. I've played the games massively out of order, and it's kind of funny. I played Borderlands 2, then pre-sequel, then 3, then 1. So it's sort of in order. Technically in story order, it goes 1 pre-sequel, 2, 3, but like, eh, I don't know. The non-named games are like throw a lot of wrenches into everything. Like the story technically goes one so was it like 1 pre-sequel, 2, Tales, 3, and then New Tales or some fun bullshit. In like terms of story, like I don't remember. I think that's the right order though, because the game first game's always first game, and then it goes into pre-sequel, which is the events between 1 and 2. Then you have 2, and then you have like I think like New Tale. I mean, regular Tales takes place after 2, but before 3. And then it's in 3 and 3, and then after New Tales is very much after Borderlands 3. And yeah. I feel like New Tales though, like something that I don't understand is like the fact that like I know New Tales kind of sucked, but like did we need to complain about getting free cosmetics for it with the one update? Like I don't understand. I know we cannot like a game collectively, but do we need to be mad about free content in another game that has it from that game? Like Borderlands 3 hadn't received an update in years, and we got one that added new cosmetics, and then people complained that the cosmetics were from New Tales, and I don't understand why. Just be happy we got a new update. Come on. Like, there was a YouTuber. I forgot his name. It's like he was a Borderlands viewer, Epic something or other. Um, and sure he was like kind of like but like I think the thing that made me end up just saying I'm done watching your stuff was the fact that he was complaining about the fact that there was cosmetics from about that were based off New Tales, and I was like, oh my! And I literally left a comment like, I'm seriously done with this. Like, dude, just be happy we got a free update and just don't complain that the cosmetics are from New Tales. Just be happy we got an update for this game that hasn't gotten an update in years, okay? And then I speed to unsubscribe. But I don't know. I just don't understand the need to complain about stuff like that when it's fucking free. Like, if it was like a DLC that costs money, then yes, I would see the point in complaining. But like, it's free. It was a free DLC. Like, come on. You don't need to complain about free DLC. It's free. Yeah. Also, the other thing that I also like to mention is the fact that like that I always point out every single time is that to some degree the Tales games are canon, but also not. Like it depends on what routes went gone down when like the game is done. Like the route where Scooter dies is canon in regular Tales, but a lot of the other stuff is not. Like apparently the route where Hyperion dies and Scooter dies is canon, but the other routes like where you side with Jack are that Jack hologram are not. I've never actually played these. I just know this from other videos, so don't ask me about that. Um, and the same thing with like likely the same thing with likely the same thing with the new Tales is gonna happen. Like, probably the crystal, yes, is canon, and yes, it's canon that it can possess people, but I'm pretty sure the ending where they wipe out, or the thing wipes out anyone that's killed anyone, and then, like, brings them all back after a moment. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the actual, like, normal storyline, so I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be canon. Though, the other thing I'm going to mention about that crystal that I think would be neat, especially if people pointing out the weird, like, silhouette looks like Handsome Jack in the portrait for the Borderlands 4 thingy. Which I'm hyped for, by the way. I'm excited. It's like a recent game to get a fourth game in a couple of years, like major brand franchise. But the thing that, like, I think people are pointing out that people don't forget if the ability of the crystal to bring back the dead is canon, then technically Handsome Jack could return. And I think the thing that Crystal bringing back life would be the fact that we never actually got that war that the what the fuck was their name, the weird ass Guardian Prequel was mentioning. I think it would be a really cool concept to make the crystal bring back all the villains, but they're not villains anymore, and are actually on the side with the Vault Hunters, fighting against this giant greater threat war. That could be really cool to see. Like, see Handsome Jack being a sarcastic asshole, but being a good guy would be kinda neat. Like, seeing that would be honestly ridiculously funny, and also kind of good way to, bring back the dead characters in a way that makes sense, and give them a change of breath of fresh air. Like that could be interesting to see like previous villains brought back to life and then made into good guys would be kind of cool. Like I do think that's always one of my favorite tropes in games is to see villains return as good guys. It's always something that's always been cool to me. Like I don't know why. It's just something I find awesome to see in games. Especially if they don't lose any of their like normal like how they look or anything. Like seeing like villains return as heroes is always fun to see. Like what's a great example of this that I was interested in? Like fuck, what was it? I don't know what it is, but it's always the same characters return in a certain way. It's always cool to see. Um, it's just always like seeing characters you think are gonna return. It's just a fun thing to see. Like I used to read a lot when I was younger. I don't read as much anymore. But I was really into Percy Jackson and all like the Rick Riordan books and stuff. He's the guy who wrote that. And I remember reading Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard for the first time and seeing the ending paragraph to the second book and going, "Oh my fucking god!" Because if you didn't know, all the Rick Riordan books that like are actually in a story, all the books are in the same universe. Kane Chronicles, Percy Jackson, and like Percy Jackson, the Roman and Greek one, and Yes, and the Gods of Asgard are all the same universe, and all have connections. Like there's a whole mini book with Percy Jackson, the Kane Chronicles crossing over, and there's a whole segment. Because the ending to the Magnus Chase and the Gods of the second book you learn for one that Annabeth Chase is literally the Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series, the like daughter of Athena. And the final line in that book that made me stoked to read the third one was, "I think it's time you met my boyfriend Percy," and that's how you know that it's the same fucking year. It's literally Percy Jackson appears in and it's the next book starts off Percy Jackson teaching Magnus Chase how to pilot a ship. So yeah, that was always like I remember reading that. I was like I literally pogged. Like it was cool. Um, I don't know, just learning something's in the same universe as well is always something I like learning about. Like there is a game series I play called like now I know it's mobile games get a bad rap, but I would seriously say Idle Mastermind and Idle Apocalypse literally actually good idle games. All ads are optional, and it's also made by a British company, and it's got dialogue, so it's got a sense of humor too. Like some of the dialogue in that game is actually freaking hilarious. But the other thing I learned is all the games they make are also in the same universe. Because when doing when playing Idle Mastermind, there is a event called now Idle Apocalypse. The first thing you run a cult run by this guy named Sid. You're a cultist helping him, making these things called the idols to destroy the world, and you keep failing, you keep starting. It's a grind cycle. And then there's a event in Idle Mastermind called the Cult, and you meet a character. I saw the still like first time. I was like, is that who I think it is? And then the character saying, "It's like you will not know my identity till time is right." And it's like falls of a branch, trips of a branch, falls into the light. The time is now, and it was literally Sid from Idle Apocalypse, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" And learned, yeah, it was literally they're the same universe. So yeah, and it's literally the exact same character, and it leads into the event where apparently all his cultists went on strike, and you have to help him rebuild the portal. and stuff, and the Idol Portal, and I think that was honestly really cool when that they're the same universe. That was just awesome to me to learn that they're the same universe, you know. And then there was I haven't done the third event yet. I haven't unlocked it. I don't know how to unlock it. But you know, it's always fun to just see like stuff like that happen. Like see games like a game dev like have all their games be in the exact same universe and it like aligns through like small things like events or like details that like are not obvious. Also, there's another thing that I've been waiting for. Like Rick Riordan has recently been doing the Rick Riordan Presents series, which is just a matter of like him showing off like lesser known authors that like to show their really good works. But the other thing is that the Trials of Apollo series ended with some very clear hints that of something that I would be excited to see and maybe actually read myself was there were a lot of nods in the ending of the Trials of Apollo series that seemed to point out that Rick Riordan might be making a series where all three universes come together in one series. Because there were multiple books. Like, if you read the books, though, Chiron is the counselor at Camp Half-Blood, the guy who runs it, is sent in necroxology is like the guy for disease, or it's this like center of disease and whatever. And the thing that was kind of cool, I know it's been running circles, probably should do something in the game. That's kind of cool was there was a line mentioned when he wasn't at camp that he was something about a meeting with a cat and a severed head, which is a reference to I think it was what the fuck was her name, the cat goddess, which had a main role in Kane Chronicles, the Egyptian cat goddess, and then I think it was name Ymir, the severed head from Norse mythology, who has also had a major role in Magnus Chase. There's also other lines like Apollo's current oracle, who is a teenager, mentioning seeing a mansion across the river in New York that they couldn't see. And the one line that made me realize what it was that sometimes I see a penguin walking around near the pool, which is a literally called to another character from the Kane Chronicles, who's apparently got some sort of like ocean god or ice god and could summon penguins, and that means that that's the Kane Mansion. And you know, yeah, again, it's Kane Chronicles. There was like a lot of hints to the other book series he made and like nods, and it made me think that maybe when he's done doing the Present series, he's going to make a series with all three universes coming together. And I feel like that would be a great way to like a fun, really cool thing to read on because like seeing like especially because Magnus Chase was like so cut short. Same with the Kane Chronicles. Sure, the Kane Chronicles had that crossover like little book, but like the Kane Chronicles was a trilogy, and so was Magnus Chase. You know, the Percy Jackson series is expanded and like from the first book series, and then we got like the Heroes of Olympus, and then we got the Trials of Apollo, and then like there were so many add-on books in that one, but like the other two they didn't get much time in like the spotlight compared to like the other one series, like Percy Jackson stuff. So I was like, it would be really cool to see them return in a series where all three come together and get more like Magnus Chase, get more Kane, get more Carter Kane. You know, it would just be really fun to see them return, especially because like I don't know, it would be fun. Like especially because like that's just a really good book series. Um, I don't know. If you haven't read it, like even if you may think, it's for teens, it's for kids, it's still even if you're an adult, I feel like you can enjoy some jokes in that series. Like it's just funny. Um, and then um, there's also I mean, there's also like a lot of like clearly like jokes that are like kind of more enabled for adults. Like, there's a couple jokes in Kane Chronicles about the main character staring at tits. Like, it's literally a joke that's happened a couple of times. So like, come on. Um, but yeah. Um, I feel like it's a good read no matter how old you are. Like books like it's very like like Magnus Chase can be enjoyed by anyone. Like it's depending on how your target audience is, but most of the time young adult books can be enjoyed by adults too and still be considered good. Um like there's just some book series that like personally I think the thing that's weird for me is that a lot of like I recently did read this like by an author who wrote like Divergent and like this other book series, and he had made an adult book in a similar style. I didn't find it as, good as like Divergent was. I didn't find it as enjoyable. Like I'm 18 and still reading young adult books because they're good. They got a sense of humor, you know? Like at least most ones I read have a sense of humor. Like not all of them do. Like most of them are kind of, yeah, I don't want to say some of them. Like some of them can be good, some of them are just cringe, um, cringeworthy, and then there's the ones that are like just absolute gems, like Percy Jackson or like the other books. And there's like the good ones. Like there was this horror book I read that was like apparently all these like kids competing in like this horror authors like short story contest, and all the short stories end up becoming a reality while they're staying at this mansion showing the short stories, and it was actually kind of cool to read. um or there was like this there was this other book and there was like just the other like cringier books that I don't even want to touch, like sure they can have magic, but then there's like like cringy ass romance shit, and it's like no, no, I'm good, thank you very much, goodbye. But I don't know, it's just a matter of like finding that right balance for like a young adult book. Like I don't know, it's just a matter of like knowing what like to aim for kids, for teenagers in the current day, because like sure romance is like good, but if it's like a main plot point, then it's usually not gonna go good with the young adults. But like if it's like kind of just sort of there in the story, then I can see it working. Like some books that would have that kind of thing, but then there's like is it's like a main like in your face point, then no, no, it's not good. Like there's just a lot of young adult books I could see like adults still liking. Like what the fuck was it? Uh like Divergent. Divergent's a good one. Especially it's just a good book series in general. Even though Divergent literally never got the third final movie, and it still pisses me off to that day that they didn't do that. That we got a Divergent and an Insurgent, but not an Allegiant movie. Honestly, Divergent was good, especially if you read like the add-on book called Four, which is like the character's name is literally Four's backstory. Like that book, that one was kind of especially interesting. Well, not his backstory, it's his backstory, and then like the events of the first book from his perspective. Because in the books after that one, we get his perspective and the main character's perspective. But then we have like you know, then we have and we have like the other characters' perspectives, like stuff like that. Yeah, this is a good book series in general. I liked Divergent. It was just fun to read, and like to learn the story behind it. Everything was a good book. And then honestly, I feel like dystopian books. It's kind of like you gotta find the right balance for it to be good. Like personally, I've never really been a fan of the Hunger Games. It's not my cup of tea. But things like Divergent is good. Or like there's this what's this other one I read? There's another dystopian book I read that was like kind of good. Um, oh wait, no, there's that. Okay, there's also like this really old book that actually, ironically, is like the pioneer for dystopian, but it was never meant to be for some reason. I forgot what it was called, but it was a really old book that was supposed to be about like a perfect utopian world, but in like if you look, but like back then it would have been. But when you look into it today, it was really more dystopian in like today's common sense. I think it was like was it The Giver or something? I think it was called The Giver. Because the world was like supposed to be perfect, like they had these regulation rules. There was like things player people didn't really have free will, and like it never caused any conflicts and stuff like that. And if anything, like usually was set out of order, they were reprimanded or did things called released, which was basically just them killing those people that were quote released. So yeah, but when you like look in that book now, it's more dystopian. But back then it would be considered utopian. But today, that's a dystopian book, like by today's standards. Like something like that is very dystopian. Um, there's also like just a lot of I don't know, like a lot of things try to be dystopian or like fail at it. Something I always wanted to get into, like I tried originally to write it, but was never able to, was my profile picture had a concept. There's a whole story I made behind it, and I have concept whole behind it. But anytime I tried to write about it, it just like it could like for holding a whole ass like consecutive lined story, I could never really get it to work. Like in my head, I could never find the words for it. Like huge writer's block trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. But essentially, the whole concept was this like story I had of it was basically my me IRL me as a self-insert character as being like one of the main characters. It was based around essentially all of my IRL friends and stuff into this story. And I think it was it was a cool idea, but I've never figured out how to execute it properly. Essentially, the concept goes, me, being normal me, and I come across this like necklace housing the conscience of an elder god named Xylor, and um, by force of fate, it starts like causing things. I realize I could change the world and make it into something actually good, except it's in a way that most people would consider not so good. And it's kind of like forced and like sort of the power gets a little to my character, so not really. And it culminates with like what is essentially like what I tried to do. There's like a lot of mixes in here. That I throw around like concepts that I've like you know used. And I've got multiple iterations of the story have gone around that I have come across with like. But for the most, like one time was like more like a dark ending for my character rather than the protogen-esque, more protogen body. But like then there's like then there was there's like there's specific ones I used. There was like the Protogen, which is the one I'm currently using. I want to go mainly with. There's like one that's like a dark shadowy character instead of elder gods. It was basically this force called the Dark from another game, from a game I played where I had control over it. And then like another idea was I end up definitely scrapping because like crossing like actual media into the story didn't seem like a good idea. Um, and then there was like it's just a concept I came up with a while ago. Essentially, Force of Fate cross characters around to make a story about like correcting the world to make it a better place, albeit in a kind of fucked up way for my character to do that, and my friends forming a sort of like resistance group to try and stop me. And it was an interesting story I came up with. It was a nice idea, but like I've never figured out how to execute it. Like, I have a whole idea for it in my head, but and Xylor is like an actual character. Like he does get a physical form out of the necklace, but I also wanted to like swap out the genre of villain tricking person and ends up causing the world to almost get destroyed by being. Xylor wasn't like that and would actually realize that the Fell's idea to change the world was actually for the best rather than whatever Xylor had in mind, and actually work with Fell rather than trick Fell to get him out of his body. And Xylor would be like, "Fuck you! I'm actually going to destroy the world now." I don't I never really liked that trope in media, honestly. Like, it's too cliche. Like, having a trope where, like, the villain that is, like, clearly, like, having someone else in lesser power, actually helping that person, rather than, betraying them and trying to end the world, is, like, a much more interesting idea in my eyes than just the psych, I tricked you thing, rather than, like, I'll actually help you trope, which is never fucking used. Like I've never seen any media use the trope where like a villain gives this person a lot of power and then like but it doesn't have physical form. Once they go into physical form, they betray it. Like they actually help them. Like instead, but normally it's like a betrayal. That's what I see the most common. Like like characters like Bill Cipher, for example. He does stuff like Bill Cipher. Who else can I think of? Fucking hmm. I'm thinking like those things like betray, fuck. Well, Freddy in like this game, like the one DLC, like that. I mean, come on, like that's just so stupid. Like that's just really one. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I never really saw it as like intent as working as like as being interesting. It's used too much. So having the idea of like an all-powerful villain giving someone power and not betraying them seemed cool. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I have whole ideas for characters, First Hands of Fate kind of thing is what Xyler did originally give Fel most of his powers. Like kind of thing. Like I threw some random crap into this shit, like Fel's character, not me, but like Fel's character, that just uses my name, my character meets what is essentially I don't know, this is fucking weird to explain. Um Okay, so essentially a female version of be Mallow, but it's not like actually an SCP and like start dating. It was really weird of an idea. I threw in there on a whim, and it kind of ended up working out in the story and working into an interesting plot point in near the end of it, where Fel gets destroyed and Mallow brings him back, or not Mallow, Mal, as I call her in the story, brings him back and he goes from actually carrying out his friends to try and convince them to join him to just fucking going, you know what, fuck all of you, and then goes to attempt to kill them, as the idea I had. I thought it was kind of like a different idea. I just thought it worked in an idea, especially because it ended up working, going from a random character I threw in on a whim to like actually something that would go into the story, like relating to it. Especially because Mal is to most people is like it can't be seen. Like she has to forcibly interact with them for her to be visible, and like Fel was the only one who could actually see her normally without like her interacting with him. So when he dies, and since he really cared about her, she gets upset and like brings him back after he is like knocked out of existence and then brought back, and then Fel just kind of like snaps, going from trying to convince his friends that are against him, they'll still fight against him, to be like, come on, just accept this world, and then goes from what, fuck all of you, and then tries to kill them. So yeah. Also, what Fel was attempting to do in the story is like a matter of changing the world into a way that would make the world just a better place. It's not like total overthrow, but essentially he fell because like purpose form is like immortal, so yeah. But like the idea I had behind him was to be like turn just the U.S., not the whole world, mainly just the U.S. From capitalism to socialism, because let's be honest, like if we fucking realize socialism is not communism, it would probably be possible, and thus like the world, wouldn't be so fucking shitty in the U.S. Um, but yeah, not like political or anything there. But I don't know. In the end, it was an idea I had of him turn a socialist, use power of the eldritch powers they had control over, and then to be rule as like a sort of president of the USA, but for forever basically. And it was an idea. And in the end, I kind of ended up liking it a little bit and ran with the story for a while. And, I never really got an ending to it. I'm still thinking on that. But, so far, the story in my head has been working. As for writing it out, I don't know. I feel like I want to try hand at animation, but I'm not sure how to do animation. And I did do an animation course briefly when I was in school, and, like, was really fucking bad at it. Um, And also, it wasn't even my choice for some reason, and it still pisses me off to that day that I wasn't able to do the thing that everyone else was doing. For whatever reason, I was assigned to make an animation. Meanwhile, like the art class, it was for art class. Meanwhile, everyone else was doing this fucking metalworking, making a necklace. Then I have no clue why they changed my assignment. I mean, I was kind of like not really special needs, but like I don't know how to word the term. I mean, I have autism and ADHD, but I'm not. It's not really. It doesn't really affect me that much. And I was assigned to do something different, and it's still never. I never got over the fact that I was assigned to do something that I never even got to finish because I got transferred to a different school that was helping me with the ADHD rather than the high school, and it still pisses me off to that day. Which also slightly shows through in the story on the fact that, like, the characters, I originally had, like, the original story had a lot of different changes throughout the time based on, like, how I was feeling at the time to, like, certain people IRL into the story that either die off or get, like, tortured, whatever I didn't like or like had problems with IRL, and then its changes were eventually made. Like currently, in the original iteration of the story, the group I mentioned a while back that originally, I got pissed at me for reporting one of them for being a dickhead. Um, original concepts had them like just dying off or being transformed into like multi nightmare creatures that worked for Fel. And then in the current iteration, with my hope to maybe get them to see that that I know I'm sorry, in the Mercy times, because like originally Void was when I reported, and he's more willing to talk to me again. The other ones though, not so much. And recently, um, I've gone from making them kind of like dying to bringing them into like the Resistance fold, but like you know current storyline. It doesn't go too well for one of them specifically. Like Void, is fine because he's talking to me again. Then like I think Joke and James. Joke, um, for Joke's character, he during an encounter with a character ends up mimicking and knows wait, this is the elder god that can mimic things, this eldritch creature. Ends up mimicking and throwing him from in a Mandela catalog and fucking Mark Heathcliff-esque style alternate manipulation shit, ends up causing him to kill himself, and then Fell takes the opportunity to transform Joke into a mimicry kind of creature where it's still Joke, but not actually. Like he looks like Joke, but like he can change, have like a different eyes and like a sharp tooth mouth, rather than like, but otherwise looks normal. Like can like, change between the two. And that was like an idea I threw around. And originally the concept I had for James instead, but like I realized that James was just driven by the other two that not like me. Joke was the main force behind it, so that's why Joke got swapped around. But I'm half tempted to change it around so eventually Joke's character breaks free from Fell's will and joins Cyber Resistance if I get the chance to, alter it around and like to talk to Joke and realize that I'm fucking sorry for what I did. Kind of thing, and might change around that story aspect. But as it stands, Joke is a unwilling servant for Fel in the story, while the others, kind of just work for the Resistance. I also came up with like a bunch of like random bullshit idea styles for it too, like an Undertale-esque fight and other shit like that, or like fucking song visuals and shit in my head. I don't know. I came up with them a while ago, but like I'm never gonna use that shit. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's just ideas I throw around a lot, like that just don't really make much sense half the time. Um, and then there's things like And then there's things like, I don't know why I'm explaining the story. I'm never going to really animate or write it, but if I ever did, I just want to say that it's an interesting idea I throw around a lot with concepts and story writing. Zyber's design may or may not have been slightly inspired by Sebastian CrossFit Eldritch or Sebastian from Pressure. Uh, I have like few concept art I threw out for him. I might make it like a community post tied to it, maybe. But after this cutscene, I think I'm gonna end the video. But yeah, yeah. Anyway, today, and I will see you guys next time. And sorry about any rambling. It was some random crap. Anyway, see you next time.